Here. All right. No, so Nikki's not taking here to take notes. So.
No, I got it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay. Let's see. Why don't we start the meeting? This is the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School Finance Committee meeting, February 8th, 2012. My apologies for the late start. Let the record show the meeting commenced at 5:50 p.m. And then we are taping the meeting, just so everyone knows that. We have two guests. At the Finance Committee, we have the full Finance Committee here, taping Ken, myself, Tony, who is taking notes tonight for Nikki Champagne, Gordon, and Ira. So I think everyone's got a copy of the agenda for the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you very much, Tony, for getting this done. Let's just quickly run through this. As we do at the beginning of every meeting, we run through the agenda quickly. And at first, we welcome our guests, and we invite public comment. We do try to ask that public comment be kept to under 3 minutes per person and under 10 minutes for the whole comment. Are there any public comments?
Any public comments? No.
Okay, thank you, Ira. Okay, good. Well, we'll go on to item number 2 then. Review and approval of the minutes. We've had a big slug of minutes completed recently. I want to thank everyone who has put in the extra time. There was a lot of distraction towards the end of the year. Then it became the grades with the administration's time. That usually puts together the minutes get completely chewed up. So I really, really appreciate all the time, Dave, that you put into it, that Tony, that Nikki, you put into it. And I know that we've got a lot of stuff coming online right now. So having said that, I know I've reviewed the minutes. I'm very happy with them. But is anyone else, are there any questions or comments about them before we take a vote on approving the minutes?
Well, I think the October 25 minutes, people may have not had much time to review. If you want to take a few minutes just to make sure, we could review those now and take the time to do that. And then January 10th we've all had for some time. So if you look in your packet,
sure. Thank you,
we'll have the October 25.
First,
it would be worth doing.
Okay, so let's just take a minute there for when we If I can get an indication where everyone finishes, are we finished? Or it's still
Oh, yeah.
working?
No, I was just going back a second.
Yeah. So I'll just make a motion. And
Yeah, sure, please, go ahead.
There's a couple things.
Okay.
So I move to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting of October 25th.
I second it.
Motion seconded, any discussion?
Yeah, did we in fact ever begin to establish a school whistleblower policy?
Yeah, we have several examples which we need to bring to Finance Committee for review and the board.
And did we develop the formal written fraud risk assessment in parallel question?
We do not have one in place yet, but Cindy Marie and Barbara.
Yeah, because they just said, yeah.
Okay.
Well, and my only third comment is talk about transparency. These are word for word. Talk about presenting an open meeting is almost more than you need to know, but wow. Who wrote these? Anybody wanting to know or what the public's business, it's letter by letter here. Almost.
Gordon, we brought up some good points. Maybe those ought to be something we'll come back to at a future meeting to revisit the whistleblower policy.
Yeah, I think they're both pretty standard. So I suggested the next next board meeting would be next week. Potentially, if we don't have it there, then we should have it for the March meeting because they're standard. It's not anything really unique, but we should formally review it, make sure everyone understands it and how it's being disseminated. Because where it's critical, particularly the whistleblower part of it, is for the staff and employees to understand how that works. Then obviously a part of the ethics training that they take at the beginning of the year and the review of that every year includes training and understanding in that. But this just makes it...
And a contact person too, I think that's it, yeah.
And as you note in the Mr. Webb's comments at the end there, these are new requirements and they're really recommendations or charges that they have encouraged all of the schools they work with to take on. So.
I nominate Dave Buchanan to be the contact person.
Thank you very much. I heard that. So, Tony, I had some corrections to make in the wording and whatnot. Do you have it electronically there?
I do.
Can you do that?
Give me 2 seconds.
Which one do you want, Dave? Can you switch?
October. Okay. And Ira, did you have something else?
Just give me a second. Newton Finance, fire away.
Well, the 25th, this is.
Oh, yeah, the 25th.
October.
You're sorry, October 25.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was wrong.
Can hang on to that one, though.
Okay. Will do. Okay, fire away.
Okay, review and approval of minutes, the second sentence in a motion duly made and seconded the...
Minutes October 5.
Sorry?
The minutes of October 5, right there.
October 25th.
Yes, but is he talking about section 2, which is about October 5th?
It's the review and approval of minutes. Item 2 on that.
Right, of October 5th. Tony's with you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before where it says October 5th, it should be in a motion duly made and seconded. The committee approved the minutes of.
Okay.
Oh, I say, right, there was no verb in that sentence.
Yeah,
Our subject.
You know, I know as well. I'll just say that
We have to cross our T's
Okay.
and dot our I's.
we can write these for ourselves, or we can write these for the public, and I think, you know, I'm trying to write them for the right people, including auditors, so I think we ought to be accurate.
Yep, got it.
Item 3, the audit review, if you go to Mr. Kelleher, indicated that, and if you could just add he there, and then a colon,
Yep.
and get rid of the he's on 2 and 3,
No.
just so that
To the parallel construction.
parallel construction, exactly, James.
Okay.
So, Going to the next page. You okay, Johnny?
Yep.
Halfway down the page, Mr. Kelleher looking at a new market tax bracket. That's that statement there. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Further down, it says, on the findings, Ms. Marie pointed out that the MCCPO, we ought to say what that is.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds to find that, I didn't remember it.
Oh, I need to look.
I got it, yeah, I'm fine.
Mr. Keller.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had Cindy Marie, we were talking about the MTRS contribution, just a couple more lines down from that.
Yeah.
And she made a statement that we were up to date on that, and I don't think we need this was agreed there.
I think that was referring to Mr. Webb and Mr. Kelleher were saying they agreed.
Oh, that they agreed?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, reflect that, because
Yeah.
it sounds almost like a board decision of some kind.
right.
Okay.
You get the next paragraph, Mr. Webb, and then there's number 1, it's a debit card.
Yeah.
It says throws up red flags and recommend changing to, and there's no complete sentence there.
That should be a corporate charge card or a school charge card.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just under item 4, the update on the 501c3, spelling of council.
Oh. Got it.
And the end of that sentence, you might just say, by the end of the next week. Since it's in the past. That's all I have.
Good job,
Good
Dave.
job, Dave.
Dave.
That's a linguist.
So do we need a motion to approve the minutes with the changes as dictated?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
So, unless we want to do something else, I'll move to approve the minutes of the meeting of January 10th.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's my sister's birthday.
I have some corrections on this, actually.
Yeah,
Do you have it there?
I do.
Okay. I think we ought to remove public meeting notice at the top.
Yeah.
And section 3, update on tuition adjustments. It looks like we skipped this on the agenda, but I think I know what actually happened is that it was rolled into item 5 on the agenda. So
Should we just note that?
indicate that, yeah. And then item 4, the update on the lease amendment. I think we need a sentence in here explaining what this is about.
Yeah.
And on what level, Dave? In terms of the economics of it, in terms of the legal formality of it, or in terms of the...
It just why it's on the agenda.
Okay.
It's just not clear if anybody else read this.
Gotcha, okay.
The lease agreement included a reserve of $120,000 for the future build out of the school. And under consideration was the an amendment to the lease that would release this reserve to the landlord.
In exchange for the rent reduction, because it was a material term to a contract, the board, responsible for reviewing, it was decided the finance committee needed to review this and approve it, and then bring it before the board's attention. Refer to it as a mutual release of contract obligations, but it is a required amendment.
Approved by all parties.
How's that?
Do you want me to read that back?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Lease contained a reserve of $120,000 for the expansion of the building. The discussion was to consider the release of this reserve to the landlord. This mutual release would require an amendment to the original lease.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Section 5, last sentence, in addition, insurance and administrative costs were budgeted higher than necessary in the current budget. So if we can go from, it says budgeted higher, providing some flexibility.
I wouldn't say higher than necessary, I'd say higher than actual.
Higher than.
Because there's
okay.
budget versus actual, so we set every financial.
Great.
Say it over again. I was in the wrong section.
Okay, so we're down to the
insurance
right
and administrative costs were budgeted.
Higher than actual. Yes, it's-
You almost want to say that the costs came in lower than budgeted.
Well, that's correct.
I mean, you're sort of saying it in a backwards
Budget
way.
is- well, budget, actual is what really happens.
So you want to say one more thing?
In addition, insurance and administrative costs were lower than budgeted,
Budget.
providing some
Some
flexibility.
flexibility, yeah, that's great.
Great.
Okay.
There's a section here with Cindy Marie talking about Harper's, working with Harper's around the,
Yeah, it's next page, 3 paragraph, 4 paragraphs.
that's page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs down.
Yeah.
How's it again?
When asked
When
about-
asked
Yeah, I
about
have it.
payroll.
Got it?
Let's see.
Oh, it's currently, the school is currently working on it.
Yeah.
I got that.
You have that, Tony?
Was that Paychex, is that a company?
Harper's Payroll Services,
Yeah.
it's like Paychex is
Okay.
kind
Thank you, Dave, for bringing that up. Paychecks is spelled with an X.
Right.
Yeah,
I
from
remember her talking about that part.
Bedford, Massachusetts.
You all set, Tony?
Yeah.
We'll run ahead of you here. I found the place I was looking for. It's in the very end of the paragraph right above that.
Keeping an eye.
Ms. Marie indicated that she is keeping an eye on alternative plans.
Yeah.
If you would say it, instead of it.
Yeah.
And then back into the paragraph we had about Harper's, Mr. Capson indicated that schools maybe instead of you.
Is that, say it again,
Mr. Capson indicated that, it says, Mr. Capson indicated that you, and I'm suggesting schools
Yeah, got it.
have to be. Number 6, there's reference to getting a float from the landlord. Is that the right term?
It's probably not accurate. It's more like a temporary
Reprieve.
Well, temporary buy-in advance. It's like you're being forgiven for a short period of time. It's a delay in the obligation.
Temporary forgiveness?
Reprieve?
No, temporary forgiveness. That's not.
You still want to be
forgiven. We still have the obligation. We're not being forgiven. So forgiveness sort of applies something with finality. I think it's just
You still
deferred.
You still owe the money?
we still owe the money. Yeah.
What'd you say, reprieve?
Yeah.
Deferment.
Deferment, I think is the correct word.
Sounds good.
Deferment of our obligation, deferment at least. Or postponement of the due date. I don't know. I really want to say that's probably a little more accurate.
How's that, Tom?
Yes. So it really would be deferment on the rent payment from the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Okay, and number 7, indicated the outcome of the legal process is not the word we want here. I think it's outcome of the current suit.
I'll just say that
We could ask Jason what the word out there is.
What's the context?
indicated the outcome of the legal process. It's probably just to say that the trial judge's decision. The Superior Court judge's decision.
Right.
That's probably, it's just be as exact as possible.
Yeah.
Not get ambiguous because of generalities.
Mm-hmm. And reference to Century Bank, they were encouraging
Us. To sign?
How about encouraging the submission
Yeah.
of?
That sounds good.
Okay, and there's reference to Amelia Peabody, and then
This is the way a finance committee supposed to be, totally immoral, so, sorry.
not usual action here.
Party committee, well,
It's like doing the
that's a
bills
great
at the end of the
If
month.
we started with a big organization.
Yeah, I just didn't want Mike to lose faith here.
I took it out already.
Okay, thank you. And the adjournment time for that was 7:10 p.m.
Thank you.
So can I entertain a motion, or can I make a motion to accept the minutes with the changes as annotated?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Oh,
All in favor?
Voting twice, that was so good, Dave.
Okay.
Any way to wrap up today?
Yeah. All right, well, thanks, that's great. Dave, first of all, thank you very much for your time, and thank you, everyone. We're going to be spending a lot more time at our other meetings doing this, because we really want these meetings approved. The notes are in, and it's just a question of getting them all approved now, so appreciate that, Dave. Thanks very much for doing this. Let's see, so let's move on to item number 3, budget review. Review and discussion of state tuition reimbursement and adjustment to the budget. Ellie, do you want to start with that, or?
Yeah, it's just, if you go to the budget versus actuals, for our visitors on the top, it's the top sheet. Board members of maybe the second sheet. You might have one?
Does I already have one?
So you want to look on, or do you want me to make it?
Yeah, sure.
I'll look on.
I'm all set.
You got one?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Oh, I thought you had. Oh,
All right, we'll share one.
One copy of it.
okay.
Here.
There you go.
So the main thrust of this report really has to do with the significant change to the per head tuition allotment from the state, and this went down from 11,800 per head to 11,200. And the impact of that can be seen on line A. So if you look on the far right hand of the most right column under budget versus forecast.
You guys want to be on the landscape-oriented page?
Oh yeah, here it is.
Next, we look at the balance sheet first.
So if you look at the that top line there where it says tuition, you can see the actual budgeted amount, which was originally set from at the 11,800 per head allotment, and then it shows the actuals just to the left of that for July through January, and then the current forecast. And then you look to the right, and you see that it actually results in a forecast that would show 94,000 less. 94,128 less in tuition income coming in. And this is due to that change in the state per head tuition rate.
And that's all schools, not just charter schools?
No, actually, as with so much in education, there are all sorts of inequities there. And so it's based on what the city and the state allocate for the city of Gloucester, and so ours is different from everyone else's, and it's reviewed differently. So for every, well, I don't know for sure if it's every single, but for most charters of the state, they saw a significant decrease, except for the city of Cambridge. And just to give you a sense of those inequities, the city of Cambridge was at 26,000 per head, but and theirs actually went up. So they are now receiving 28,000.
But the Gloucester public schools also went down.
No, this is specifically, I don't know, I can't speak for public schools, but for charter public schools. But as with, no, I did, I'm referring to making a blanket statement, Ira, about all public schools. That one of the issues is there are, everyone thinks that it's only New Hampshire where property tax decides everything, where there are inequities. And in fact, the inequities by city throughout the nation, and particularly the state of Massachusetts, are enormous. So I guess I'm making a political statement there.
One I can wholeheartedly agree with.
And so fortunately for us, if you look then down to line B, the grants came in much higher than had been anticipated.
Which it should be noted, seemingly credit to Tony with the work he had done on going after some of these grants, because it was a big benefit to have been on top of that and to pull them in.
Good job, Tony.
Thank you.
Great job.
I mean, obviously, there's always more to that. And it was actually Cindy Marie also setting us up with someone who had done a lot of grants for the state. And you really have to know the system, know how it works, and so we worked very closely with someone who had done that before. So
just a quick question: were the grant amounts greater because of greater allocation to those types of grants in general, or was there a specific issue at Gloucester Community Charter School because it was a higher number of sped that we have? Versus the,
yeah, our numbers actually were higher than what had been anticipated, and also the carryover grant came in higher than had been anticipated. So both of those helped us, and they actually are going to lead to us being able to do some things that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. We're actually going to hire an additional para-professional for special education, and that's huge.
Will that be discussed at the program meeting?
Yeah, it will be discussed at the program meeting. Then if you look to the next line in terms of understanding these sort of key areas of the budget, the nutritional reimbursements, that program began late, and so both the income and expenses are less. So if you look along that line and then also look down to the expense line for food service, you'll see where it basically balances out there. So that was a benefit to us as well. And then, of course, we made some changes in staffing, which have also helped us, so that and there's been lots of misinformation around that on the blogs around what the school's actually been doing. But we have not had any reduction in program at the school. We still have music theater and fine arts and the director of arts integration in place. So there was information that was really to do with last year, that we no longer had a director of arts integration. We made no changes there at all. The main changes in staffing are that we had hired 2 staff in the 4-5 grade right at the beginning of the year, even though it was more than you would normally have. And the reason for that was educational and support of students, which is that we knew that Kate Sundquist was going to be going on maternity leave in October, and we felt it was worth the extra expense to have Eddie Wells teaching side by side with her right from the beginning, so that for the kids there would be no change there in terms of difficulty in the transition and the continuity in terms of approach, and that the children's comfort would be there. So what's actually happened is that when April Odell left to move closer to be back closer to her family from the 2-3, we moved Eddie Wells into the 2-3 classroom because Kate Sundquist's maternity leave was over. And so we were able to hold on to Eddie, but that reduction in staff would have taken place in the budget anyway. And the benefit of it now is we've been able to hold on to Eddie because he was able to slide over into April's position.
And we do have a full-time SPED director.
Yeah, full-time SPED director.
They said that we didn't, and
well, actually, SPED coordinator was what they were saying there, and the SPED coordinator we reduced from, and this was way
full-time
to no, from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Yeah. So it wasn't a significant change there.
But if I could just add one other thing.
Yeah.
I think there's some confusion too about the 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, the 6, 7, 8. There was confusion there that some people were saying that we'd actually consolidated the 6, 7, and 8 grades. And we haven't done anything like that at all, so that the 8th grade is still a standalone grade as designed in the charter. 6, 7 is a multi-age grade environment. That if we fully staff for a school of 240 and a 6, 7 grade of 80, then you would have 4 teachers in 6, 7. And when we had more funds at the beginning of the year, we decided to stick with having all 4 of those teachers, even though there was redundancy there at certain levels. It made much, much smaller classes. So we had classes as small 7, 12. But what we've actually done is that Eric O'Toole and Sarah Gillum, who are science and math teachers, they're now teaching the different science classes for 6, 7, and 8. And so there's been no change in delivery of programs, just who's delivering it. So Brian Keyes, who was a math teacher here, has left, and we were able to consolidate the teaching staff there, which I want to say, again, reiterating, we were actually carrying more staff and a larger staff than we needed or they would normally have with this number of students.
It's nice to be able to control the business of the school and not hurt the product of kids. That's our product, kids.
That's right.
Yeah, and it allows us to do that without constriction from other organizations. Fantastic.
The other really positive change is that Kate Sundquist has come back to it and wanted to do a job share situation. And we will be offering a contract to a new teacher, Tanya Hawley, who's a experienced 13-year veteran teacher with a master's degree in special education. And fantastic experience, who happens to be close by in Marblehead and doesn't mind trying to get over the bridge to get to us. So we're very lucky to have her.
Dave would love that ride.
Yeah. I mean, and that's reflected in D, if you look to there on the front page in terms of expenses under personnel costs. And so with the annual budget originally of $1,040,957, the current forecast is actually that we'll come in under $1,992,597. So what we've managed to do twice now is to deal with significant changes in income without any reduction in services or program. And I think that's you know, an indication of really a lot of work by a lot of people. We're still in very good shape, and in fact, because of the increase in grants, being able to bring in an additional paraprofessional for special ed, which is going to improve the program services there. And as part of that grant, we have more money available for professional development than we had anticipated, so we're going to be able to provide additional support there as well.
Great.
And that would be in the form of what, tutoring and extra?
Yeah, we actually have two parts of the grant. We have money specifically for tutoring, and we have money specifically for special education, ongoing professional development, and and for additional engagement of either Ned Sullivan from Pittsburgh State, who was in over the summer and worked with staff in terms of differentiation of instruction, but also we've got a couple of $1,000 specifically that we put towards special ed, professional development with special ed and general ed teachers. And that's, you know, that's somewhat related to differentiation, but it's even more specific than that. And so I think we're very, very fortunate, really, to be in this place. And
I should say, so the first cut was about 32%. This last cut is 5.8%. But when you factor that it's a smaller amount of money, it's actually over 6%. So you're talking about a nearly 40% cut in the budget since the beginning of the year, and to have come through this.
And unless I read this wrong, the bottom line would be $500 to the South. I mean, you're forecasting that we're going to get that $1,511,000 in payments?
correct.
And that is still solid, right?
Yep, yeah, that's correct. And in addition, there are some, and I don't want to go into all the minute detail of it, but the insurance expenses are coming in lower than expected, and there's a potential savings there, not huge, but there is some.
Are you talking about the health insurance benefits or the liability?
Well, the liability.
Okay, the property and casualty.
Yeah.
Insurance. Okay.
And also the maintenance, repair and maintenance up on that second page. Right now it shows 83.3 expense as a percent of the overall budget. But that was because we had front-loaded expenses there that we don't have now, and so we're actually now operating at about $700 a month for the repair and maintenance, and so we could have significant savings there as well. So, it's given where you could be with these kind of changes, like I'm still trying to get adjusted to a state system that not only in terms of the payment of tuition, which is 3 months quarterly in arrears, so even though the fiscal year starts in July 1 and your expenses begin right over the summer, and with staff coming in early and doing planning, purchasing of curricular materials, all of that.
They don't pay till October?
They don't pay till September 30th is the first payment. But then on top of that, you actually have a system where not only can your students leave at any time, so completely changing your budget, of course, fortunately they can come in at any time as well, but on top of that, that you can actually change the per head tuition rate. And so the entire budget can be completely out of whack.
So are you forecasting that we could possibly not lose $500 and come in and say that you've done?
Well, I think that the unknown for us now, most significant unknown really, is that last year, 30% of our total enrollment arrived after February 1. Which is why when people use, to use the MCAS as any sort of indication in a brand new school that's only been operational for a few months, and the students who attend have actually been attending other schools for the majority of the
until February.
So you're saying this situation could improve?
Yeah, you don't know, like, if we actually increased our student body by 30% again this year.
Well, the only reason I brought that up is, remember there is that provision where we cannot afford to take any more retained losses.
Say it again.
We cannot afford to take any more retained losses because there is that provision when you get to that percentage of your capitalization,
right,
where you take retained losses, you got to write checks backwards. So that is overview. So having the zero, fingers clause, no retained losses.
Okay.
It's finance committee.
Good job, Cory.
Okay, Mr. Overview.
I'm sure when the data points are for calculating those retained losses.
Seriously, what's his name? Rick Crowley would be going, right? Gordon, keep reminding them.
All right, well, Tony, thank you very much. Any other questions? I think Cindy, Maria, and Tony have done a pretty good job. This
Make
is
a motion to accept the
second time
finance
they've
committee?
scrambled to pull this together. They've done a great job. So do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion. Accept the minutes.
Second. The budget.
The budget.
The budget, I'm sorry. I said minutes, sorry.
Any discussion? Second. Any
I
discussion?
think I already did.
I do have a question.
No, I was going to raise my
Okay,
hand.
well, there be no discussion, there being a second and no discussion, all in favor of the finance committee, say yes. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Okay, now item number 4, the further update on the status of the final C3. We had a little lull because the application it's a work in process. There's a certain point towards the end of the year where we probably weren't going to get the deadline for a 60-day preliminary approval. So we were able to rely on the Salem Academy Charter to provide fiscal sponsor services, which they will do for no charge, and we still have them working with us. We are again back on track now and focused on this. We should have an initial letter from the Commonwealth in the next 60 days, during which time we're working on a specific form that's rather detailed. It goes into the nature of, this is the foundation again, so it's going to be all about how we do our fundraising and what type of work we do, we go through, we hire people, things like that. The issue here isn't so much the paperwork, honestly, and this is really not a finance committee issue. I just want to say the issue for the foundation is going to be putting people on the foundation. We want to have a board and a foundation that are as separate as possible. In the beginning, Dave and I will act as officers very, very briefly. We've done the paperwork for some time already, but the long-term goal is to have other people. And again, the reason for that is that the foundation is a separate entity that does things it's a foundation. It's got to have a community mission, as all foundations should. And we narrow to a certain extent, but we have to have a more full mission to get approval for the IRS and the Secretary of the Commonwealth. Yes, sir.
So, to answer a question, if an individual wants to make a donation
That's a great question. Yeah.
to the school, that money will be held in escrow or in the actual command of that other school.
Okay, let's back up. That's a great question. So how that works is, first of all, if someone wants to make a donation, they can make a donation anytime. Someone can show up here with a bunch of books or a bag full of money, whatever they want to do. If they want to be tax deductible, it has to be put in through a 501c3 organization. Now, the Salem Academy Charter says that they will act as our fiscal agent fiscal sponsor is probably a better word. That means that they are lending their 501c3 status to us and allowing any money to be collected by them so that it becomes a tax-deductible donation to the individual or foundation that's making that money, that philanthropy.
But then they write a check.
And then they write a check to us. And normally, in the normal customary terms, fiscal sponsors charge about 5%. And the Salem County Charter has agreed to completely waive that fee for us. So it's a...
For holding the money.
Yeah, well, they're holding the money, and they technically speaking, as a fiscal sponsor, you're responsible for providing an accounting of the money. You have to make sure that the money is spent for that purpose. There's always a great deal of liability when you become a fiscal sponsor, and that's true by the other organization. I work with GCACS that's fiscal sponsor work, and we are responsible. It's almost as if that money was given to us, and we have to show how we spend it.
So the question,
accountability issue.
The question that was asked of me was, will that money stay in their account until it's spent here, or does it come right here into our
We have
account?
to request. That's a great question. Also, we have to request them an advance, or not, an advance is not word, it's a payment, is the right term.
Okay.
Right. So typically, if there's a gift that has some particular...
if it's a directive gift, like
If
to a
it's
kindergarten or a playground,
If
or...
there's a specific purpose for the request or gift, then we have to prove that, we're related to that request.
So they will use their tax deferred number to record...
Tax exempt status, yes. Exactly.
Tax exempt, like we did with, okay, good. Okay.
Those are great questions there. Thanks for asking.
So
we'll keep you posted. Hopefully within 60 days we'll be all set. But then the real issue, it's not the paperwork that's going to be hard. It's going to be finding people to populate the board and the executive offices of it. Any questions about that?
So you may have already answered this. So if, would those gifts come to the school first and then be sent to Salem Foundation?
Someone's going to call you up and say, I'd like to make a gift or something, or I'm a foundation. How do I do this? And you say, well, I have to direct you to this address, and they have all the paperwork and the numbers. And
the holding company.
So it's a foundation.
And that's only going to be for the next 60 days.
Well, it could go a long depends. It's hard to say. You can't really predict with that 100% accuracy when this is all going to go through.
Yeah.
But it should be about 2 months.
I think Peter Van Ness would make it incredible having that foundation.
No.
It's just when he needs it. It's more than nonprofit work. Yes.
He'd be horrible. We wouldn't want him in charge of
He's
that.
rock solid.
Well, are there any other questions about that?
No.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I guess, are there any other questions at all about, why don't we take a second to discuss, it's not on the agenda, but at some point we have to figure out when the next meeting will be. I know there's been some, with the holidays and everything else, there's been a lot of irregularity about the meetings. We really want to try to get back on track of that. As a general rule, I'll just say this as a comment. We want to have the finance meetings early in the month because Cindy Marie finishes her financials, for the end of the month. But she doesn't finish them right at the end of the month. She has to, collect all the information she needs. Bank statements need to be reconciled with what the computers say. Certain other work has to be done. So it's just really not possible to have a meeting like on January 1st or 2nd or 3rd. It often would be late first week or early second week.
Well, how about like this? Where are we now?
Well, today's the 7th or the 8th, excuse me.
Because she's got January.
It's really perfect. I mean, I'm very happy with this. I guess the question is for this group, which is the finance committee, is Wednesday night okay? And so you have...
I do, but if it's nice and early like this, 6 o'clock.
An hour you're local.
Yeah. So the beginning of the month?
Yeah, it's more challenging when it's early, but I can.
Oh, how 6?
We could do 6.
Yeah, comparably. Okay. We did this at 5:30 because honestly, I thought that Cindy was going to be here, and that was my mistake. So I apologize, and I thank everyone.
You know what? I incorporated the same night we have a full board meeting.
Well, here's the thing about that, and I'll just get to this for a quick second. But we have a couple people like Jay who really travel so we try to put his group governance in. And is Jay on program or not?
Jason's
He has program. So we try to get those, when Jay comes in, we try to get all 3 lined up at once if possible. And it's not always possible. But whereas for financing, we're all local, pretty much, except for Dave. So we could do finance and board, but actually for to really accommodate Jay, who's can't.
Yeah, no, because he's hard to.
Yeah, so we do better, from in my mind, in terms of using our people assets the best way possible, I would prefer to have the Board of Trustees full meeting.
We don't need to meet during the month of February again? Right now?
For finance?
Yeah.
No, I think we consider, finance's job is to review the financials, and if there's anything else that comes up from facilities or program, that we would get rid of that, and then, discuss how we would afford it, basically, that's what we do. And updates on any foundation work that we've been doing, or grants that came in, or grants we want to apply for, that's the kind of thing we'd be doing. So once a month is.
I'd like to make a suggestion, so don't save us time getting into a deep discussion here without everyone having calendar books.
Yeah.
But the board meeting, as we did, finance committee meeting, as we just said, needs to be the second week of every month, so that Cindy has time to put together a month end. And if it's a goal, we want to try and have all committee meetings be the same basic evening. Then if we use that as the rule, that committee meetings would happen the second week of every month, then we should send out a calendar to all members of the board, all showing when the committee meetings might happen for the rest of the year. And then the following week would be your board meeting. So you've got time for finance committee and the other committees to meet.
Sure,
that feedback will be gathered and then to go to the board.
This is how we're doing this week.
This is how this week and next week.
Governance is the only one that's not.
So you're saying like the 14th of March is the second Wednesday?
Correct.
So you would have the board meeting the 21st?
You could have it on the 7th if you found that you.
Well, that's why I don't want to get in a
it.
long discussion about it now. I would say, yeah, the finance committee meeting would be the 7th, board meeting the 14th.
Okay.
But what we should do is send this whole thing out, mapped out to the entire board, make sure that you have a quorum present for each committee, which is the main thing, and then post it, and we're not going to change it. And that way, the public and everybody post it on the website. Here's all the meetings for the remainder of the year. This is exactly when it happens. It's the same every month. This is when the committees happen. And as long as before we post it, we make sure we've got a quorum for each of those meetings. Everyone can take their time to look through their calendar.
I'd like to make a motion that we have this done.
Well, we can't do a motion.
You can't
This
do a
is
motion.
not on the agenda.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
just
just
I'd like to make a suggestion. Let's do this before the 1st of March.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For the remaining,
I suggest we do it the next
for
one.
the remaining 10 months.
Yeah, I think what the idea is, like, just get something informally out to everybody, get everyone to weigh in and buy in, and then,
Might I suggest you just do a Google Calendar, that everybody can view it at the same time?
We have a calendar on the website. Let's just fill it for 10 months.
Because we can add to that
Oh,
Google
we need
Calendar
instruction on how to use it.
different colors for board committees,
Yeah.
things like that, so then it's just on one thing.
Yeah. Well, for planning purposes, we could actually put it out there.
We can make it private.
You make it private,
We can make
yeah.
it private until it's approved by the whole board, but then everybody's looking at the same thing.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, because I had confusion. Originally, I had 6 o'clock put in here, 6 and 7 the next meeting, 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. Those changes of reversing the finance was put on the website, but I don't spend my day looking at the website. I'm on the move.
The
So
website is the final arbiter, though, because that reflects what the public meeting notice under OM law.
I realize
Okay,
that,
okay.
but I mean,
Well, the big thing, what we're all saying really is every single one of us at one time or another is being frustrated with, meetings that got changed, not everyone not being in the loop,
we're
or
not
cutting and
going to
pasting
make all
people
the
in.
meetings. We're just not, it's not possible.
And we've even,
But at least you'll know ahead of time.
now we have committees that don't just include board members. So one of the other things that's happened recently is that we've actually had it set up so it goes to all board members, but then it didn't have the non-board members who are now committee members. So I think if we could just do this and stick to it, then everybody knows weeks in advance, the agenda may
Months in
change,
advance.
but we're going to know we have meetings on that.
Okay.
Could you entertain a motion to adjourn?
I would love that.
All right.
Any second?
Are we having discussion?
No, we are ending our discussion.
What, there's no discussion on this motion?
Oh, excuse me.
I have discussion because I would like to ask, is there a facilities committee meeting next?
Yeah,
When will that meeting start?
immediately.
As soon as.
Immediately or after? Because I have to leave at 10 of, but I want to say something.
Immediately.
at the facilities meeting. Should I say it now in the discussion for the adjournment, or are we going to start immediately with the next meeting?
Let's adjourn. Let's adjourn. Okay.
All right, then I will stop
Any other
discussing.
discussion? All in favor of adjourning the motion? Okay, let's record show that the Finance Committee meeting ended at 6:45 p.m. Thank you all very much for your participation. Okay, let's just take a 1 second break here. I'm going to do a quick.